Hey, this is Josh here,
Hey, this is Mike.
and this is Must See Before You Die. And this is the review of Last of Us, Episode 5. Oh man, I don't know the name. I think it's Run
Is
It.
it 5 or 6,
Oh,
Josh?
no. It's called Kin. Called Kin? That's what it's called. Kin. Sorry, I don't know why I thought it was Run It, but Kin is the name of the episode. And we'll get to that why it's called Kin shortly. So, Mike, this show is on. This is episode 5, episode 6. You're right.
Yeah,
I screwed it all up, didn't I?
it's okay, Josh. We forgive you.
Yeah. So episode 6. Now that I think that means that there's only 3 episodes left, Mike.
Okay, it's only 9 this year.
I think so.
Okay.
But yeah, this episode not action packed at all, but a lot of important dialogue and important scenes to move the relationship of Ellie and Joel forward. Right?
I agree. Yeah,
Yes.
I do like the couple right at the beginning that they. I mean, do you want to kind of set that up? What happens at the very beginning?
Okay, so they show a flashback from last week of Henry shooting himself, and then it kind of goes to black. Then it says 3 months later, and they're walking through the snow. And so I like this that because in the game you do that. You go from like summer to fall to winter. I mean, because if you think about it, they're traveling from Boston to on the West Coast. That would literally take you 6 months. It would take you a long time.
Yeah.
Especially because there's no. So I like that they're going through the seasons. I really enjoy that. And yeah, so they stumble upon, or you see a guy come back to his cabin and he's hunting. He's got like a deer hung up outside. He has like rabbits he's bringing back that he shot. And his wife's sitting in a chair, just sitting there. And she kind of like looks over and he knows something's up. You could tell. Because like she like looked and Joe was in there and he was like, take your gun out, blah, blah, blah. And he talked to him. And the guy was like, wait, you fed him soup? The woman like
That couple was hilarious. I would have liked to seen a whole episode on just them. They were cool.
Well,
I mean, they were. I love them.
I guess those people are in another show together as a couple, or at least the woman in a show called Northern Exposure. I never really watched it, but I remember hearing about it. And I guess she's like basically the same kind of character in that show. So, but yeah, Joel and Ellie just are talking to him, and they didn't hurt him or nothing. And but the guy told him on a map, like, and Joel asked, "Do you know my brother's name, Tommy?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "We were here before the infected," and he goes, "We stayed out here. No one's ever bothered us." So that's what the old guy said. And he points at the map and says, "Don't go past this river, like Death River or something." Isn't that what they called it? Death River?
Yeah, something like that.
And don't go past this because you won't live. You won't live. You'll be dead. So, but they're like, okay, well, so they leave and then they start walking. You like the couple though, Mike? You said.
I thought the couple was hilarious. His sarcasm, like, did she tell you the truth? Or he looks over her and Joel says something about, tell me the truth or I'll kill you if it's not the same as your wife. He looks over at his wife. He's like, did you tell him the truth? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So he did. He told him the truth too. But just the communication there, I thought was very witty, and I liked it. I kind of wish I saw more of that couple. I really liked them.
And I liked when Ellie came down and was like wisecracking with the old guy. That was funny too. And he was like, "Oh," because she like started cussing, and he was like, "Oh."
Like there was a lot of bantering going back and forth in that brief minute. It wasn't but like a 5-minute scene, but it was really good.
I feel like the actress that plays Ellie is really embodying Ellie at this point. I mean, I've played the game, and at this point, she's really in it, in my opinion. And it's really good. I think she's really good. And as this episode goes on, man, I'll tell you, Joel and Ellie are the actors that play them are really good. I mean, they get in some pretty good scenes coming up, and phenomenal acting, in my opinion. I mean, Pedro Pascal that plays Joel, the guy's a phenomenal actor. No doubt about that. So, but But so Joel is while they're leaving this cabin, he like leans against the fence and he's like grabbing his chest, and you're like, wait, what's going on here? And Ellie notices it. She's like, hey man, without you, I'm dead. Like I need you here. And he's like, oh, nothing. It's just a cold wind took my breath away or whatever. But obviously something's going on. I mean, he like grabbed his chest like this.
That happens again later on in the episode too.
So they go around, they see a dam working, like working. So they're like, well, something's going, like there's power going through this. And then they ended up getting surrounded by a bunch of like people on horses and stuff. And they're like telling them, oh, you're going to get threatened. Or, I mean, you'll get shot or something. They had a dog. They actually have a dog.
That was intense when they had the dog smell them to see if they were infected or not.
Well, the dog, like that's pretty cool that they've taught dogs to smell if people are infected or not.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Cause like,
is that in the game?
I don't remember that in the first game, maybe in the second one, but the Fedra has those machines that can tell if you're infected or not. But now they have the dog, and the guy told them, if the dog smells that you're infected, it's going to tear you apart. So Joel gets smelled and he's fine. And then Joel, you can tell he's very scared because Ellie is going to get sniffed and he's going to get found out and the dog's going to attack her. But the dog doesn't. For whatever reason, the dog does not attack her. Even though like on the Fedra thing, it shows that she's infected. But the dog, for whatever reason, could not smell it on her. So that, so they the one woman says, what's your name? Or he goes, I'm looking for my brother. And she says, who? And he says, Tommy, or my name. She goes, what's your name? He said, my name's Joel. And she takes him back and he ends up reunited with his brother, Tommy. And that's pretty cool to see. Like, you can tell they haven't seen each other in a while. It's been several years at this point. So it's really cool to see that, the camaraderie. And like I said, I think these guys played the part really good as being brothers. And
one thing I can say about this show is there is no poor acting.
No,
it's all every character I've seen in this show, supporting actors and actresses and behind the scenes. It's not something you got, God, this is cheap as shit, or it's just poor acting. It's really high quality, like on the big screen level. I could see this if it was consumed into a 2 or 3 hour movie. I could see this at the theater. I mean, it's that good.
Yeah. The acting is really good. And the guy that actually plays Tommy, he actually was a Terminator in the last movie as a villain. He was a villain Terminator. He played like a liquid T-metal or T-1000 type. But no, so they get talking and stuff. And then there's some really good dialogue. Well, Joel is, we find out that Tommy is with this woman who's kind of like the leader of this group. She's an African-American woman. And so Joel finds that out. And you can tell he's not too happy about it, or maybe he doesn't know how to feel about it. You know what I mean? And Ellie's really funny. She gets after this kid that's looking at her. She's like,
she got a mouth like a sailor, man. Everybody in there, all the kids are really kids. They don't carry guns. And, right. She's got a mouth like a sailor.
Right. These kids haven't had to grow up the way she's had to, Yep. So, and later they kind of get to that again. Like she's like, wait, this is, I'll get to that later. But so Joel and Tommy go to this bar in town, and it's cool to see Joel. He like rubs the bar and he's like, whoa, it's been a long time since I've sat at a bar. You know what I mean? Like you can tell he's like, this is cool, man. And his brother like pours him a drink, and they have like a real bar there. And they
got electricity, they got heat. I mean, it's a running society in there.
Yeah, they get the heat, they get the electricity from the dam.
Kind of reminds me of The Walking Dead, how they set up a society inside walls and stuff. But yeah, everything is in there. I mean, they fixed the dam so that the electricity would come to it. They were talking about sewage and food. Well,
they have sheep, they have cows. They're working on getting pigs. Now the woman did say that it's a communist thing, and Tommy said no, it's not. And she goes,
Joel didn't like that.
well, Tommy says it ain't communist, and she goes, "It's a communion. Yeah, this is communist." So, I mean, seems like everything's running fine there. And she said they're part of a council, though. So it's not
she
just
says
like
the council and they rotate and they all do their fair share.
right.
And,
So it's not one dictator, you know. So,
but I don't
what?
know. You've played the game a long time. It kind of makes you wonder because I think maybe I'm wrong on this. Wasn't Tommy when he first came through and Joel saw Tommy, he was up working on a hangman's? Wasn't that a place where you hang people?
I mean, it could have been.
It looked like a hangman's platform.
Right.
And he was working up on that, and you're like, that's what I thought it was. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's part of a store or something. But I thought it looked like a hangman's platform.
Yeah, it did. It did. I don't know if it
probably
is or not.
inside the walls. If you steal or do something you're not supposed to, they'll take you out pretty quick.
Well,
and it kind of gets brought up that way too. That his brother Tommy says, that anybody from outside trying to get in, we shoot them 100 yards away if they don't tell who they are.
Yeah.
So to other people, they're probably the bad people, like that couple at the beginning says, if you go over there, there's people over there, you don't come back.
Right.
And they have scouts looking out, keeping the place safe. That's how they found them.
Right. So also there's not that much infected, but there is, like, they scatter from the city, I guess, eventually. And so, but no, the woman did say that there's a bank, but it doubles as a jail, but they haven't had to use it, Mike. So, right. I mean, I guess everybody's staying in line. But so Joel and Tommy go have a discussion, and Joel basically says, like, me and you can take this girl, and Tommy's like, no, I need it to be safe because my wife is pregnant. And he said, I'm scared. He goes, but I think I can be a good dad. And Joel says, well, I guess we'll see.
That was cold.
That pisses Tommy off.
I don't blame Tommy. It pissed me off. And I was like, dude, you had a child and she died on you. Now you're like pissed at me because I'm trying to raise a family,
Well, because I think what it is he doesn't want Tommy to have to go through what he went through. Does that make sense? Like, if his child gets killed in this world, that's going to be the same thing that he had to go through. I think that's what that's coming
Plus,
from.
He was pissed off because he knew at that point that his wife probably had him stop calling. He intentionally stopped calling him on the radio.
Right.
Because he was just giving up on it, or he wanted to move on.
Well, because
that pissed Joel off. Like, hey, all of a sudden you stop.
Well, his wife didn't want him doing the things that Joel and Tess were doing.
They're bad dudes.
Yeah, Joel's not a good dude. I mean, he is, but in this world, he's not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he had to do the things that he did, but then, like Tommy said, we could have done other things to survive, but we weren't good at them. But we were good at killing and stealing and whatever we did. We were good at that. So, yeah, that conversation, Tommy leaves. Or no, Joel says, we'll take some supplies and we'll leave in the morning. And then he has another episode. And while he's having this episode, there's like a Christmas decoration thing going on in town. Yes, they have Christmas trees and they celebrate Christmas here. There's a girl kneeled down with a little kid, and the girl's got hair very similar to Joel's daughter.
Right.
And he's like having this episode, plus he sees that, puts him like in a state, and then when the girl gets up, she turns and she's got like a little kid with her. And I watched the thing at the end of the episode where it said that it basically that was showing Joel what he could have had. He could have had like his daughter grow older and have a grandchild.
Have a grandchild too.
Right, and he would have been a grandfather. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like a double gut punch because he's going through this, then he thinks he sees his daughter, and then he sees what he could have had.
Right.
So, like, that's a pretty emotional shot, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, this one was light on action, but heavy on drama, heavy on emotional punches, man. Honestly, it really was. Yeah. But, like, this whole town has, like, houses with heat and stuff. That's pretty cool. And then they take Ellie to go see a movie or whatever. And then Joel and Tommy have a really good talk. And Tommy says, "Tell me everything now," because Joel's kind of pulling the punches. Tommy says, "Tell me everything now," and so
He told him.
Joel told him, "This girl is immune. This girl cannot get sick. I've seen her get bit," and then you could tell Tommy was worried. He was like, "Right."
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they kill him.
Well, yeah, like right when he told that, he was like looking like he wanted to leave the room, and then he said, "Tommy, this was months ago. She got bit, and she's fine." Like months ago. And he was like, "What?" And then that's when he said, "Tell me." And then that's when he told him that Tess died, because Tommy knew Tess too. Told him Tess died, and he told him all this other stuff, how he has to get her to the Fireflies for a cure. And he said, "Tommy, I can't do this. I'm not the same Joel that you remember. I can't hear out of this ear. I'm deaf. Like a guy snuck up on me and almost killed me if it wasn't for Ellie. The guy would have killed me because I couldn't hear him." And then he goes, "I'm older. I just can't do this like I could. Like 5 years ago, I was a totally different person than I am now." So, and Tommy agrees, but Ellie at this point walked out to go find Joel. And so she heard some of this conversation where Joel was like, "Please take her, And so Ellie thinks that basically it's, oh, there's another important part. Tommy's wife was cutting Ellie's hair and they were talking, and Ellie seen like a what's that called? It
was a chalkboard and it had their names on the.
It's like a remembrance of Sarah and of her son that died, and
So this is the first time that Ellie finds out about Joel having a daughter,
right? And she said, "Well, no, that's Joel's daughter," and so she found out about it and stuff. And I mean, Ellie stuck up for Joel, and this woman was trying to kind of bad talk him. She was like, "Oh, he killed people," and she's like, "Well, so did Tommy." And she's like, "Well, just think who people are." I mean, this woman doesn't know who Joel is. I mean, She thinks she does, but then Joel and Ellie. This is an awesome scene in this bedroom of this house, in my opinion. Really well acted and really good. And Ellie's kind of sitting in the window reading a dictionary, and she says, is this all the girls then had to worry about? Like boys, what movies were playing, like what they were gonna wear that night? She goes, "Is this what they had to worry about every day?" Like, because she's never known that life. So and then she's like, "Well, if you're gonna leave, why don't you just do it or something?" And he was like, said something like, "You're better off with Tommy, blah blah." And the thing she says to really like the conversation, she says, "I'm not her, don't you?" Talking about his daughter.
Yeah.
And he's
like, "No, don't you go there."
Yeah, he's like, "Stop.
Don't ever say it again," or something. He makes some comment.
Yeah, dude, it was intense. It was intense. And he was like, "Yeah, don't ever do that again." And she's like, "I've lost people too." And he's like, "You have no idea what loss is." And all this is basically straight out of the video game, Mike. This whole scene, it's really good. And she was like, she said something, I can't remember. And he said, "You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell am not your father. In the morning, we're going our separate ways."
Damn. It's my way or the trailways.
Her eyes are watered, but she swallows it and just like, "Okay, whatever." I mean, he was just like, "Yep, you're right. You're not my daughter, and I sure as hell am not your father." I was like, "Damn, man." It was, dude, I'm telling you, that guy is a great actor. Yep. I mean, he delivered that line. He was delivering those lines, and you felt it, man.
Both of them did.
Yes. Both. Ellie's great. When she said, "I'm not her," right? I was like, uh-oh.
Like you don't get smacked back in that time period.
So, yeah, I mean, and like I said, and then in the morning, Tommy comes to get her. They go down. Joel is already getting horse riding. He goes, "Yeah, I came down here a half hour ago to leave on a horse, but I'm still here." And then he said, "I guess it's not fair to give you no decision. He goes, I'm going to give you a decision. You can either go with me. And she's like, yup. She didn't let him finish. It was funny.
Didn't even get it all out.
Yeah. And it was really funny. And then they kind of go on a thing, and there's like a 5-day journey to Colorado where they had to go. And then they go to this college. That's why they have to go to college to find the fireflies. And they're looking around. They don't find them. The fireflies are gone, Mike. Yep. But there is 4 guys outside, and they're like, oh, and you see monkeys. That's kind of cool. That's in the game, the monkeys. And there's 4 guys who are like, oh, crap, we got to get out of here. They go to the horse because they got a horse from Tommy. And Tommy, before they left, Tommy told them, you guys both have a place here. And they said, we're counting on it. So they run. They get on the horse. They're both armed. And all of a sudden, she's like, oh, Joel. And like out of nowhere, this guy swings this baseball bat. Joel ducks or something. The guy hits a tree, breaks the baseball bat. Joel runs against him, crashes against him, punches him or something, then puts him in a chokehold. See, in the game, dude, you choke a lot of guys out. So like that was kind of cool to see. And
he broke his neck.
Yeah, and then he broke his neck. And then he turns around and looks at Ellie, and the bottom half of the baseball bat that broke is stuck in his side. Yep. And so he pulls it out, which was probably not the smartest thing to do, actually.
Yeah, my wife was saying that exact thing. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
Yeah. That's what they said in that podcast, too. So he pulls it out, and it's just gushing blood. And then she's like, oh, crap, Joel. And these 3 other guys are running towards him. They hop on the horse. He barely gets on the horse. Yeah, they take off. She's like blasting him. I mean, Ellie knows how to fire a gun, to be honest, especially a handgun. And they get away. They're taking off on she's like, they're not following us. They're not following us. And Joel just keels over, man, falls off the horse, just falls there with his eyes closed. And she's like, oh God. And she's like telling him, I can't do this without you. I need you. Like, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what to do. I need you. And she puts his hand over his wound. And that's how the episode ends.
Yeah, I thought it was a great episode. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
So if you're into a lot of action in this one, it's not going to be a lot of action, but you still need to see this one to be able to get the storyline and the drama going into it.
I feel like the relationship between Joel and Ellie has never been stronger since
this
all
was
that.
Probably the most powerful. Well, I don't know. The first episode where his daughter died was pretty powerful, but emotional wise, it was pretty intense. And you got a ton of feedback on what's happened over time and then what could be happening. And I thought it was a really good episode.
Yes. I thought it was a great episode. So, yep, I really liked it. The next episode from the preview looks like it's a flashback to when Ellie gets bit. So that's the next one.
That'll be interesting to see how she first got bit.
Yep. That's in the game too, but it's a DLC, so you had to actually buy it extra.
Okay.
So, yep.
All right, so tell us what you think. Do you like it? Did you not like it? I know this is a 24-minute recap, but hey, you don't have to watch our 15 minutes. Just watch our 24 minutes.
Hey, it was worth it, man. There was so much in this one that was good. You had to talk about it.
There was. Yeah. Tell us what you think. Do you like the show so far? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yes.
Please like and subscribe to Must See Before You Die Horror Community on Facebook as well. Yeah. We like to talk horror stuff. We'll even talk about The Last of Us as well.
Yes.
Have a good one, Josh.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.